is the Rangers Journal Night.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're joining myself, Mitch, and Billy here at the Rangers Journal for our post-match thoughts, our pre-match thoughts rather, not post, unless we've kicked off extra early, for this afternoon's game against Ross County for the 3 o'clock kickoff. So, Billy, how are you?
Yes, mate. I will put my hands up and admit that this is take 2 because I didn't press the go live button. So I'm going to probably repeat a lot of things that you've just heard, but just in the door, glad to be here and looking forward to this game against, at home against second bottom. I'm hoping for a high scoring game.
That's it. I think there's got loads of potential today to build up that goal difference again. Get back positive, and I think hopefully, and I don't know your thoughts on this, but maybe the chance to see some of the young guns maybe getting a good set of minutes in them, maybe a good half hour or so into the legs.
It's more a case of they might have to play, mate, isn't it, with the injuries? But yeah, if regarding the courtesies and your Rice, Zach Lovelace, that could be a good chance for them to go on, especially if we do go in, at half time comfortably ahead. I'm of the opinion, we should be signing the best Scottish talent, but is signing players from other clubs of a similar standard of football, not just holding these players back and preventing them getting in the first team. If we want the young players to stay with us for their professional contracts, we need them to see a pathway, don't we? So, if they get some time, I think it will be, enforced because of the options with injuries we've got. I don't know quite what we're back to. I don't know if you've seen the manager's thoughts yesterday, but I never got a chance to read them.
I've not had a chance to hear them, but I think that was just, I don't know if there was an official press conference on Friday or not, obviously after the game on Thursday. I don't think there was one of the proper press conferences, as I would call it, But we obviously did see on Thursday night after the cracking result there we did see the return of John Souttar back to the team for a wee half-hour run-out. Do you think we start him today, or do you think it's going to be managed minutes on the way through?
I think we really could do with them being back as soon as possible. I know there's that saying that if they're on the bench, if they're fit enough to be on the bench, they should be fit enough to start. I don't think that's probably quite true, especially with somebody coming back from a not long-term injury, but a mid-term injury. But the stats of how many goals we conceded up until when he was injured since he was injured are quite staggering, really. And the Jack Butland's form has certainly dropped as well because of not having someone to trust in front of him. He doesn't seem to know whether to come for the ball or not come for the ball. And when he does come for it, inevitably does something wrong, as we've seen a couple of times in the last few weeks. So, I say if he's fit enough, he should be starting and hopefully playing the next. We've got this bye now, so we don't have to worry about European games for a couple of weeks. So he's got a chance to slowly come back into it. I know I don't like saying the league's gone, but do you risk him if the league is probably gone? You may as well have him for the European campaign. But I hope he starts.
Well, not to interrupt you there, Billy, but the team news has literally just broke, as of 30 seconds ago.
Okay.
So our starting team for today is we have Jack Butland in goal, Tav, John Souttar at the back alongside Clinton Enciala, Yefty, Raskin, Diamande, Hadji, Tierney, Igamani and Dessers up top. On the bench we have Kelly, Proper, Lawrence, Bajrami, Fernandez, Becosland, Rice, Curtis and Encial. What's your thoughts?
Let me look at. I'm in the meantime, I'm also trying to get the picture ready for us to show on the screen, mate. So let me have a look at. And also, Cammy's just sent me a copy of the team as well. Happy that Igaman and Dessers remain, because I think it's not that I'm not going to knock Dessers. He's been playing well recently, but it's good to have the two forward men. I know they're not playing as both as strikers, but it's good to have those two on the park again. As regards, as we were just talking about Souttar and Enciala, that could be good.
Do you know?
A no nonsense defender, and you're maybe a bit more flair defender, centre half to come in. I think I'm happy enough with that.
I think what excites me with that is that's potentially a look into one of next year's partnerships. Because I think what's really nice as well is given the fact that our defenders are dropping like flies at the back anyway over the last few weeks. I think it's important there that the manager should put a bit of trust of faith in Enciala there as well to say Proper is there, Suter's there, but you've earned your right to stay in the team just now.
Yeah. Yep.
Continue your experience, and my take on that is as a very young centre back who's obviously only now played what we on 6 games roughly that he's now played.
Yep.
Um,
Around about that. Yep.
he should be. These are the games that, without being disrespectful to Ross County, they are in a much different league position than we are. We both financially, the gulf between both teams. We should be able to take the risk and say we are going to put the youngster at the back because this is the games that he learns, the bread and butter games to say
Mhm.
you're going to have to do a bit of hurricane door defending from corners. You're going to have to be in there, And I think it's important there that he's now on his third centre back partner as well throughout the time of he's worked with Leon, he's worked with Proper. Now he's going to work with John Suter, who is when
Mhm.
he's fit, first name in the team sheet at the back, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I don't know.
Let me bring up the team for us so I can see. Finally,
Yeah,
get a chance to see it all in.
but I think what's important there as well is, and I don't know if you'll agree, but Proper at the end of Thursday night looked an absolutely knackered man that's played every minute there of the last 8 or 9 games, give or take.
Yep.
He's looked absolutely burst on his feet,
And he
and
won't be used to that.
certainly not 3 games in a week. The way that
Yep.
the schedule's been, and then even prior to that, obviously you start to look at the festive the festive schedule. This is normally about the time that starts sticking back to bite most teams in the backside, where you go, playing a game every 3 days for 4 or 5 weeks is insane, you know. But it does beg the question of when we get to maybe next weekend, who does he play then? In the league, does he continue with the Enciala integration into the first team, or does he switch and put him back with Proper, or does Suter Suter and Proper take a half and half each? It's going to be interesting, I think, from a developmental standpoint.
Well, the good thing is next week, mate, we've got the cup game, so we could continue with Enciala in that role with either or Proper or Suit. We don't have a game until then, so
That's right.
that's something that we can build on that partnership. If that is the partnership he's going to go with, which Proper probably is still ahead of him, but it's as you say, he looked done and he needs a rest. So I'm happy to see Enciala in there.
I think as well, touching on your earlier point there as well, it's nice to see Agamani and Dessers together because I think the two of them look like they're now starting to understand each other. And understand Dessers is doing really well by doing what I would call the big man job up top. Of he'll go and win the knockdowns, he'll go and give Agamani the chance to feed on that second ball. That after he's won his aerial duel or his contest, and Iggy's there with that bit of flair there, putting nice boxes into the box, running at players, nutmegging them for fun. I think at this point he's probably on about 1,000 nutmegs already for the season. It's interesting, but a few folk there, especially like Full Victim there in the comments, has mentioned the glaring omission of young Zach Lovelace from the bench, given his ongoing contract chats there as well.
Yep, it's you've got to wonder if it's maybe just an injury or a knock or something, because you'd want to see him. If I'm right in saying that his contract's up at the end of the season,
It is, aye. So he's
could be a
6
case of
months left.
he's already decided that he's going. So why bother playing him if we don't need to? I don't want to speak. It's not knowledge I've got or anything, but it just seems a wee bit weird.
There seemed that the last night there was a lot of chatter that he was away back to Millwall.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'd heard as well. Yeah.
And we're now, we could be putting 2 and 2 together, making 87 here, or we could
Well,
be putting
Dado
2
Puzzle's Blue
together.
Boots is putting it out on the line and saying that he is down in London.
So don't get me wrong, it'd be interesting to see what kind of money and things like that, is involved in that. Would it be potentially, I would say kind of call it Connor Barron structure of 300 to 500,000 with a sell on put in there. 6 months left of his deal, but we've given him Europa League experience, first team experience. That's it's one of these ones of, time will tell. Well, we've got exactly 36 hours left or so before the window shuts.
Mhm.
So we should all hopefully know by this time tomorrow.
Well, I'm hoping we don't know by this time tomorrow because we're going to be doing the marathon transfer show tomorrow night from 7:30. So I would like it all to happen in that kind of 3 hour window before it shuts, mate. Gives us I don't know, gives us something to talk about on the pod.
Well, that's it. Hopefully we have some medical drama or something. Or that pulls it past 5 o'clock for us. 5, 6 o'clock. But I think it's interesting there. I was talking yesterday within the chat as well about the potential. Where does Fernandez fit right now? People talking about wanting another centre back in, and you're like, well, we've now got Suter returning back from injury. We've got Proper at the back now. We've got Sterling hopefully back within the next week or two. I would be pretty shocked if we don't see some version of Sterling next weekend. And then we've also now got obviously the likes of Fernandez in there and Balogun still to return. The last thing we need as a team is another defender back there.
It's a crying difference from a few weeks ago when we thought we'd need to bring in, let's just get somebody from the lower championships to come in and be like that siege defender that we've been missing, some kind of hard man, I suppose. But yeah, when you put it like that, is there really any great need to bring, spend more money on a position that we're probably going to be covered for in the next week or so? So, and again, with the cup game being next week, with no disrespect to Queen's Park, we hope we come through that fairly unscathed. So. It's
I think the only position that we might look at something could maybe be a right back or a left back, depending on what's happening on the Ridvan front. The rumours won't go away about Turkey. Again, not back in the team, but again, he seemed to distance himself from those rumours midweek. And again, as always, I think we'll know anything that comes from Turkish media. We just generally tend to stick two fingers in their ears about it. Thank you very much, Josh. I'll slide you that tenner later on. But, I think looking ahead to today, I think we should be able to carve open Ross County. They are where they are in the league through a mixture of squad quality and they are Ross County. Again, no disrespect to Ross County, but they're not exactly an attractive proposition when you look at, do you want to go and live up in the Highlands for the harsh winter, or do you want to go and be, across the Central Belt somewhere, at like some Motherwell, or, when I look at kind of comparative teams, you kind of say to yourself, they are where they are, they've got who they've got, but they're incredibly good at bringing on their own young players. But, what do you think scoreline-wise, Billy? What are we looking at?
Well, just before I go into that, they are, you mentioned before we started, they were on a good run of form for their point of view.
Yeah.
Because they won against Aberdeen 2-1. They beat Kilmarnock 1-0. They did get beat off Celtic 4-1 and 3-2 against Livingston, but they've drawn against Hibs. So, as you say, for them, that's not really bottom of the table form. So they might be coming into more of a game, 2 wins in the last two. I still think we should have much more in the locker to deal with. I'm looking. Let me just pull the bench back up to see who we've got. Obviously, you've got Lorne's back in, McCausland. Bayrami, at least if he comes on and tries a bit better than he has been, we've got options there to come on and affect the game if there's not. But I do think that's probably our strongest starting that could possibly have.
Do you know what I will say? And we've all throughout the season given Ross McCausland stick, rightly or wrongly. We are all grumpy middle-aged men now. We've reached that point in our lives. I will say though, and I'm going to give the boy a wee special shout out there for Thursday night. It was chucked on at right back because there was no other option. And I don't think he did. He didn't do anything spectacular, but he also didn't do anything wrong. In a position that he's never played. Then he's moved up to the right wing again for the last 15, 20 minutes of the game. I think the boy did himself justice. But I think one thing I never want to see with McCausland is I certainly never want to see him on the left wing because the boy seems to forget he's got a left foot. But I do think he deserves a wee bit of praise there, obviously, for what he did on Thursday night there. He actually did really well with the job that he was asked in a position that he's never played in before.
Yeah, that was an odd one. I know we've got no other options really, but playing him at right back. Yeah, I don't. He's not Czerny. He can't play on the other side when than his foot. If you know, if that makes sense. He's
Aye.
he's 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 not going to be doing those cut-ins and whatever. So, I'm just not convinced with him, mate. You know, I don't write him off, but he's just never really kicked on from last season. So yeah, I mean, I want him to do well, but he's really. It's almost like he's been worked out. He was new last season, and he kind of hit the. You know, he came in with a bang, and it seems like players know how to play against him now. He is only one. He only uses one foot for the most part, and yeah, he's just not. We need better in that position. We need a better backup in that position, in my opinion.
I think it's. I don't know if it's one of these ones of where last season he played with that almost the ignorance of youth,
Yeah.
where it's that confidence of, well, do you know what? If I balls it, I'm new here. Like I've literally not played first team football before, so we're just running with it and see what happens. And I think now, is it potentially a touch of the old I call it second season syndrome, where he's now like, well, he set a marker for himself with his performances last season, which probably excelled where he is in his development. And now are we seeing the true form of a player that's only one full season, from where he joined us last year, like in the first team, to now? Are we seeing maybe just that the artificial form from last season taper off, and we're seeing a boy kind of try to figure out where he plays and how he plays now, like try to find his stride, or either that I'm doing him too much a service, who knows?
It's not limited just to football players, mate. What's that thing with musicians and directors? That's when they get a fantastic first debut album or debut movie, they struggle to follow up with the same quality for the second one. He had a good season last season, and he struggled, and he has had opportunities, but he's looked like a youth player when he's come on for me this season. So it's not. I hope he turns it around, and I hope he goes on to have a great career with us. But I've got a feeling he's going to be the Scott Wright of this team.
Potentially, and it's one of these. It does leave the head scratching because he's either going to give himself a shake, knuckle down, and really kick on from where he was, or he's going to be left stuck in the bit a little bit. I do think, though, for today, I would like to see Rice, Curtis, and Enciao get a proper run out, though, that last 15, 20 minutes. I think
Hopefully.
These are the games that, from a level perspective, if we were putting them out in a youth loan somewhere, like we've got many of our boys out on loan just now. Also, shout out to George Dentos for his first goal yesterday for Alloa, and the rest of the boys there that, made their debuts and stuff across their new clubs yesterday. I think this is probably the level of, again, no disrespect to County, they're no better or no worse than some teams in that top 5 level, those top 5 positions in the Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And these are probably the level of games that these boys should be coming in for to get a good run out of. Come and test yourself. That way, come and test yourself at this level. So, I think that's where I'm at with them.
What I did want to bring up is this comment here. I'd rather have McCausland than Dow on the bench. I'd rather have a pre-marked mannequin on the park or on the bench than Kieran Dow. So I'm glad he's away, and he just had affected nothing. I know he got a goal against Livingston. I think he got another goal someone else. But when you're literally bringing on someone who doesn't even look like they know what a football is, never mind what to do with it. So yeah, I do agree with that. I'd still have McCausland on the bench over Kieran Dow.
Now, I'm not taking a bullet here for Dowell. I'm not, because I've already got my bullet that I take for CD9. Through the good times and the bad times, I'll always be there to back him. Dowell's problem, I think, with us is, one, you need a set of stones to play in Scotland. You need to be willing to get in the trenches, and you need to be willing to take one in the shin, and you need to take a couple of knocks here and there. I think sometimes he's a wee bit like Ben Davies. He's too pretty a player for the league.
Right.
But also, we kept on forcing him to play out in the right wing. When he was at Norwich, he played in centre mid. Like, what are we doing? How can we expect him to perform well if we just keep punting him out into a position that's not his position? But
he did say he was learning a new position when he came to the club, which isn't great from our point of view. Of you know, we want to be back, especially we're paying him the money we're paying him. We want that kind of money to go to a player that is playing in his proper position. But we just seem to constantly play players out of their actual position we signed them for.
You know, square pegs and round holes. So, you know, that's what we should be known as, square peg, round hole football club.
Or we just sign people that can do that rather than just picking ones that have just one particular skill set. We need to be picking, going in for your Dujon Sterling's or even Calvin Bassey's type. Or obviously, you want to go in for Calvin Bassey, but you know, players that can, players that can do more than one thing. If that's what we need from them, if we have a team that we can't spend the money on 12, 13 players that are playing a particular, you know, the
role
the special teams in like American, well, the special teams in American football, that we can't be doing that. We need players that can do, you know, what's I'm trying to think of the cricket one, spin bowlers and fast bowler. We need guys to do both.
That's it. But you know, speaking of utility men and Sterling, there, I said at the start of the season, the younger players that can be utility players, pick the part of the team they will be the utility players for. I think Sterling, we to a certain degree hindered his development last season by putting him in the midfield. For me, he should have always been the back line utility man, where he can slot in at right back, he can slot in at centre back, he can play left back if we need him to, but ideally it's kind of ugly when he's in there doing it. Yeah. But we know if we're in a situation like we are now, we go, well, do you know what, Deej will be fine. Like, we stick him in, but would you want to put him in at left back in an Old Firm game? Probably not. But you go, okay, fine, you know. And I think the games that we've had Sterling for this season, where he's been the utility man at the back, we've started to see the return of form to Sterling that we've seen last season, when he shouldn't have been playing in that number 6 role. But again, you know, everybody was made of chocolate and, you know, peanut butter brittle. So here we are, you know.
I liked him in that role, to be fair, mate. I liked him playing in the midfield. I thought he gave us a bit of steel that we've been lacking.
But I think, you know, is it yourself that's full-time as well?
I believe so, unless Scott is joining us as well. I'll sort this stuff out after this pod, mate.
We'll figure it out, mate, as we go.
Yeah,
figure it out as the afternoon goes. But I think, you know, we're in for a big afternoon, I think.
Well, I'm looking forward to the game at home. Hopefully a good few goals. You asked me for my prediction earlier on. I'm going to go, normally with the home games, I'm all flash and say it's going to be 5-6-0. I'm going to go 3-1. I think it's still an untried and a newly back John Souttar with Enciala there. So it's still a chance of a calamity and a nonsense going on. So I'll say 3-1, but we'll be a few goals up in the first half, and hopefully these young players can come on for the last 15-20 minutes.
I'm thinking of the same, mate. I'm thinking a nice clean 3-0, 4-0, but you know, it's probably been a bit over ambitious, but I would quite happily even take 2-0 up the road and see the youngsters get a good half hour.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm happy with that.
As always, we will see everybody at the end of the game. You know, as we get there, we will see everybody back for full time.
Okay, mate. Catch you soon.
Catch you later, guys. And remember, every night is a Rangers journal night.